Coming up on All About Android, it's me, Ron, Flo, and you may remember OMGchad, Chad Johnson from the old days of the show. Chad joins us to talk all about the Android news this week. We discuss Google's cancellation of the Android 11 beta launch show. They say postponement, but we'll see. But that hasn't stopped the beta from leaking to a few people, so we talk about some of the features. Also, Sabrina is the name of the upcoming Android TV, or is it Google TV dongle? We will find out hopefully soon. Also, another Pixel feature drop. We get a look at what would have been the Pixel 4a and a whole lot more next on All About Android. All About Android is brought to you from LastPass Studios. You're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure that they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether they're working in the office or remote. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com, code Android. And by LegalZoom. Don't let legal questions hold you back. LegalZoom is dedicated to helping you with the right solutions. Visit LegalZoom.com today to take care of the important things you need to get done. Welcome to All About Android, episode 475, recorded Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. Your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Florence Ion.
Yes, indeed. It's good to see you both. We happen to be welcoming back to the show this evening a fourth member, a legacy member of the All About Android crew.
Oh my God, Chad!
I love welcoming back alumni. This is great.
That's right.
Hey,
Chad
guys.
Johnson.
Good to be here.
Hey, Chad. How are you doing, man? It's good to see you.
Doing really, really good.
Yeah, I bet you are.
So for our short-term listeners, our longtime listeners know who OMGchad is, but our new listeners of the past few years might not know that Chad Johnson actually got his start here on All About Android, right? That this was the beginning of your career, or your media career.
Of everything in the world.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think I was homeless before All About Android, and
right.
Yeah, you guys picked me up and put me in the technical director seat, and now the rest is history.
How long was your TD run? It was a good run. It was a good couple of years, right?
I almost want to say 2 years, maybe 3. I was at TWiT for 4 years, and so, and you know, I was there when Eileen started All About Android, and I think I took over technical directing pretty quickly after it moved into the studio, the brick house.
So thanks to the awesome wiki at wiki.twit.tv, I know that Chad, you TD'd episode 18 through 136.
Whoa!
Wow.
That's a great run, my friend. That's great. And
built the foundation of the show, the bones of the show.
Yeah. Holy moly.
And so
that means that I TD'd for over 2 years. Yeah.
That sounds
about right. Time. Every Tuesday night, that was the faithful night of explaining to me what Minecraft was.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Remember that? That was fun.
Yes, I do.
And that's of course important because, Chad, your career now is on YouTube, which, by the way, congratulations. You just passed 1 million subscribers on your YouTube channel, which is amazing.
Yes,
what a milestone. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And B, on YouTube because of Minecraft. This is really what you do, what most of what your content revolves around. Minecraft has really worked out for you.
Yeah, so OMGcraft, which actually used to be a Twitch show for a time, that I took independent years ago, and it took off. And so on YouTube we just passed 1 million subs about 3 weeks ago, and that's my day job now. So yeah, went from TWiT to I briefly went to LA, and now I'm in Dallas, Texas, doing YouTube and Minecraft full time.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. Now that you passed 1 million, though, now you're like, all right, so I'm now the page. I got to mute it. The page says 1.01 million. So you're probably like impatiently counting, like, all right, come on, can we get some movement now? Let's get to 2. Yeah, seriously.
Exactly. And people would still like because it doesn't say, it just says 1 mil, and it doesn't like round, or it rounds so much that people don't realize, like, so like 3 weeks later I was getting like, congratulations, I just saw it, and like people would send me screenshots of it. And I didn't have the heart to tell him, like, oh yeah, that's kind of old, Yeah. And I'm actually kind of glad that it says 1.01 million, so people realize it wasn't just that day.
And in that scenario, you just politely thank them, and but now you can move on with your life. Yeah. But so what's even more interesting, of course, for those who don't know, our All About Android alumni are always welcome on the show. Right. Whether it's Chad or Brian or Eileen or Gina or anybody. And we do not preclude you due to whatever phone you use. But Chad, we got to ask you, what phone are you using these days?
iPhone. Oh, no.
It's okay. We forgive you, Chad.
What's funny is I think I actually may have switched. I was trying to remember exactly when I switched. I may have switched while I was still TDing the show. It would have been like the very last few shows. Wow. I switched to iPhone, I think.
So you switched because of All About Android. What happened?
No.
We pushed him away.
No.
I'm sure we gave you a hard time about switching too.
I switched because of the Apple Watch. That's right. I
remember that.
That is a perfectly good reason to switch.
Yes.
It is a very valid reason.
Yeah, that's why I switched.
And are you still wearing the Apple Watch? Are you ever lured in the direction of Wear OS?
Is it the same Apple Watch as the first one you got, or?
No, but I did keep that one for way longer than I needed to. Like, not that I needed to, but like then its life, the first, the Zero edition is what they called it. It was like not good. It was bad.
No, it was not good.
Yeah. So I have Series 3 right now. I think they're on 4, which I'm happy with. Oh, I have Series 4. I think they're on 5. I don't know. I think I'm a generation behind.
Well, we're gonna talk about your iOS experience, or we do a little comparison later in the show, right?
Yeah. We thought that would be a lot of fun, and like Ron said, it's great to have you on, regardless of what phone you use. We actually hear from a lot of people who watch and listen to this show. They are iOS users, and they just enjoy the show. They enjoy hearing people talk about a different facet of technology for whatever reason or another. So I think it's just great to get you back on, and I'm so thrilled for your 1 million subscribers and to have you on tonight, because you're always fun to hang out with. So thank you for hopping on today. Should we call you Chad or OMG tonight?
Oh, just Chad. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Or Mr. Chad.
Yes. Please call me
1 million.
Sir 1 mil OMGchad. That'd be great. Thank you.
Right on. Well, thank you for hopping on. Let's get into the news, Berg.
Didn't even take a swing this week.
Intro. Sorry.
Didn't
even take a swing. He stood there, watched the pitch go right by.
It's okay. It's okay. I understand. With our top story today is definitely something that important. Obviously, we've got a lot happening in the world now, and especially in the country. And it does tie into Android. So tomorrow morning was supposed to be an event. We were supposed to have the Android beta show. Google was going to have its kind of replacement event for what we would have seen in a keynote at Google I/O. This had been planned for a little while. We were going to do live coverage here. But last week, Google postponed its planned beta launch show for Android 11 Beta 1. They said in a tweet and in kind of announcing this, we're excited to tell you more about Android 11, but now is not the time to celebrate. We're postponing the June 3rd event and beta release. We'll be back with more on Android 11 soon. So Google does seem to expect that this is going to be rescheduled at a later time. But I think, all things considered, so much is upside down right now. A whole lot of, people are turmoil, pain. It's just a hard time right now. And I think it felt a little like I'm happy to hear Google do this. And they made this decision not like just now, not after like a weekend of the protests and kind of this ongoing emotionally fueled moment. They did this last week. They made the decision well in advance, and I don't know. I respect Google for making that decision and for delaying it, for realizing maybe now's not the right time to have this big ballyhoo, this big like celebration of something, when we need to focus our attention on something that's just really important from a historical perspective.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's the same kind of issue that we run into with doing the show. Like it's kind of with, I know totally. At my day job, I'm a content creator and social media and stuff like that. And yesterday I stopped everything. I paused it. I said, this isn't the time to be shilling our wares or all this sort of stuff, and you want to have a respect and a kind of a serious approach to the world around you, but also we talked about it before doing the show today, and it was kind of like, well, but it is relevant because we had this cancellation and because it actually does, our audience, a lot of audiences are looking for distraction or looking for other kind of other things in the world, but you just can't ignore it. You got to everything we do in terms of media and communication is affected by it, and you got to be cognizant of that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. So we don't know when they're going to reschedule this. I mean, as we get further into the summer, I mean, really just it kind of depends on how this moment plays out, right? There could entirely be a situation where there is no event, and it's just kind of like, yep, here's the update. It happens. And in fact, Ron, you have the next story, which kind of makes it seem like in some ways, even without the event, we're still, or at least a few people are still getting the update.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, so a few Pixel 4 devices actually got the beta rolled out anyway, which is fascinating. And so some of the folks who did get it shared some details with the folks over at XDA. And here are some features of the beta 1 for Android 11. Developer options setting that moves the music player notification into the quick settings panel. New icon shape options. Pebble, tapered rectangle, quote unquote vessel, which I feel like we're going to need to zoom in on and take a look at. All right. Some big changes to the power menu settings that include home automation, shortcuts, and controls. And that's actually enabled in conjunction with an update to the latest home app. A contextual hot seat on the Pixel launcher, which is basically app suggestions in the bottom row of icons if you opt into it. And then a subtle reorganization for app bubbles. So we're seeing some pretty, with beta 1, some pretty significant UI interface changes and kind of changes to the way you interact with the operating system. Now, I don't have a Pixel 4, so I did not get this beta. I don't know anyone who got it. Jason Flo, do you know anybody who got it? Or?
No, I was crossing my fingers, but no, I didn't inadvertently get it. I was hoping so. But I think I didn't get it. Yeah, Chad didn't get beta 4 on his iOS device.
Well, that's the funny thing is that actually Chad woke up and got it and was like, "This is weird. I should be on all of Android."
Like, yeah, dismiss. Don't need that.
That install tomorrow. News. Install later.
So, of what we've seen from Android 11 so far, like what stands? Like, does anything stand out to you? And maybe it's even hard to remember. Like even me, like I feel like I've installed these updates. There's not a whole lot to really point at and be like, oh my goodness, that's the key feature. Like, is it the integration of smart home controls in the power menu, which seems neat? Like I actually would totally use that on a regular basis with the Hue bulbs that we have in this house. But I don't know if that's like. If that's like the critical, like this is the thing that people are really going to want to upgrade to Android 11 for. I don't know that we've necessarily seen that yet. Should we at this point?
It's a good question.
Out there. That's a good question. It deserves a good answer. Anyways,
Flo's thinking about it.
You stumped us for some reason. I think because I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the significance is behind smart home controls in the notifications panel. Because I'll tell you, I've been using a third-party app that spoofs that feature. And now I actually brought this app to the arena, and I thought that it would be something that would increase productivity and whatever my interface usage, but I actually find it to be kind of annoying. And I can't, it just feels like, I don't know, there's nothing super exciting about any of this right now. And I hope that doesn't seem too like harsh, but it's like, yay, okay, we're going to get an update. We're going to get a couple new things. And I don't know if this is just because we're not having an event this year. I don't know if it's because we're not naming things after desserts anymore, but it just feels like, okay, it's an internet update.
Some of the magic is gone. Chad, did you know that they ditched the dessert thing? Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
I had heard that. Yeah, no, yeah. I did know about that. Is 11 the first to ditch it? Because I thought it was before that.
10 was. 10 was.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about 10.
Yeah.
See, you don't remember it because it wasn't named after a dessert.
Well, no, 10 had this secret dessert name that was never quite given to it because it was the first one without the dessert name, but like there was one like internally going around. So yeah, it's a little on the fence.
There was a lot of mystery. Even though ultimately there was no public dessert release with 10, there was still a lot of mystery, a lot of guessing, and a lot of like behind the scenes dessert talk, which apparently
and like now,
I mean it's the dessert back channel. I mean, it's a secret IRC channel that you need to get into that's just talking about desserts and the internet, and like Android is a huge topic of it. And in fact, it's just a matter of time before we find out what the secret Android 11 dessert name is. It would have been
I would like to think that there's like a speakeasy somewhere on Google's campus that if you speak the dessert, if you can use the dessert as a password to get into, then you'll gain access into the speakeasy.
That you're part of the club.
So it was going to be R, right?
Yeah.
So
this dessert, yeah.
We haven't discussed this yet. Could we just come up with our own?
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, you got red velvet cake. You got Rice Krispie treat. Red vines. You got rice pudding.
Oh, okay.
Now, is 11 going to be R or was 10 R?
Would have
10
been.
was Q.
I mean,
10 was Q.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there were still dessert releases, then 11 would be R, and
Jason,
would be way easier to name than Q.
Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't add the modifier if it were like you got to own it. We got to say, listen, 11 is R. I'm holding on. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna say Rocky Road.
That's actually
you're gonna
a good one.
Marshmallows. Oh, why is Rocky Road? Are you choosing that because that ice cream is an amalgamation of different kinds of sweets? Because there's marshmallows in it.
Got like everything in there.
There's nuts in there.
I hadn't thought that far, but I'll take it. I'll pretend I did.
Well, because think about it, Android 11 is really just an amalgamation of all these other versions of Android.
That's true. That's the best that we have right now. It's an amalgamation of all the features with a couple of smart home controls in it. Does iOS have kind of like a unified smart home control aspect?
Yeah, don't you guys? You guys have that in Apple Home.
Yes. Yeah. So we got the Apple HomeKit, which is kind of that's the name of the like platform, but you just have a home app. But that's all in Control Center. So we don't have So we don't have the cool like inline widgets inside of your notifications. Your notifications is just your notifications, and you have a separate area to pull down if you want to get to widget-like things, which is Control Center. And I use that all the time because I have my thermostats on stuff. I have lights on stuff. And so it's very simple. You just have to pull down from the opposite side to get to it. And then you have access to all your stuff. And so if I wanted to change the thermostat right now, I could. And that's all built in. So that is what I would assume they're trying to emulate.
Does that control the changing light behind you?
No, that's different.
Okay. Okay, different app. Got it. Okay.
Can I make an observation? So as like Chad is talking about iOS and how kind of like the Apple Home app is. I mean, because I'm not super familiar with it, but when I hear about it, it reminds me a lot of the fact that what we're talking about that's new in Android 11, and maybe this is controversial, but I kind of feel like maybe Google it's putting a lot of that assistant integration that we have from the interface on the smart displays into Android, and it's starting to get a little muddied. Does that, you know what I mean? Like it's because on iOS, it's like, all right, you have your iPhone. This iPhone is a part of being an Apple user. Okay. And this is going to connect you to HomeKit. HomeKit is part of being an Apple user kind of thing. Versus here for us, it's like, oh, you're an Android. All right, here we go. It's all right here. Boom, blah, blah, figured out kind of thing.
Yeah. But that's like the Android way is like you have this team that has made a great assistant situation with the home, the Google Homes, you have the Google Hub displays, you have the actual assistant which can work on your phone. Great stuff. And now you got Android, totally different team, put them together. I felt like that was also similar before we kind of got a UI refresh with material design.
Before material design, yeah.
It was like you got this design over here, you got this design. And it's kind of felt like what Google does. They just, all the teams kind of make it. And then when it becomes a big problem, they go, okay, everything's under one roof. Like now you guys all have to be the same. And this may be a step on that journey.
It's shocking. I don't know what that process is like at all. It's not like we didn't just go through that between Google Play Music and YouTube Music recently.
No.
Yeah.
Ron is dealing with a lot this year. And I kind of feel like we need to find him a program because you need to talk to someone about this, Ron. Like we need to find you a community. Because
the irony is my allegiance is to Google. Like I'm ride or die with Android. I want to use everything. I want to like it, but it's at the same time, it's just like, why are you being a bad friend?
That's a good one. That's a really good analogy, and also perfect for you because you're an Earth sign. So, and we're very loyal.
So true, Ron. I think you're right, Chad, about kind of what some of these features seem to be maybe not emulating, because that makes it sound like Google's saying, okay, we want to copy Apple. I think they all kind of in some ways move in the similar directions, whether one gets there before the other. They're kind of all working in the same direction, the same playing field. But that feels to me, at least at this early stage, what a part of this update is. It's about kind of integrating more the smart home into the experience.
And is there really any smart home integration at the moment? Sorry that I'm ignorant on this.
It's through the home app. Through the home app.
Yeah,
through the home app.
Through the home app and through Assistant.
Well, through the Assistant.
The Assistant is the thing that connects and everything. And honestly, I'm not against, Flo, you do have a point about it muddying the interface and all this sort of stuff. But I have Google Homes. I have light bulbs plugged into my whole home network and all that sort of stuff. I tell the phone through Assistant to turn the lights on or off or to do something on the home thing. And I think it was last week, we were talking about Action Blocks, which is that app that Google released that allows you to put shortcuts on your phone to access Assistant functions and interact with different things. So I feel like Action Blocks was a step in the direction of bringing a lot of the home controls through to your device itself. I'm actually okay with putting the home stuff in the phone because I'm using it. Right. It's just a matter of if they can do it in a way that feels seamless or frictionless into being able to use the device and not have it get in the way. So,
yeah.
Is it this app, the home app?
Yeah.
Yes.
The home app.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm an Android user. And I didn't even know it.
There it is.
Yeah. See, so to me, coming from the iOS side of things, this does not feel very seamless. Like the home app it's like all your devices are really kind of just
a long
thrown
list
there
of symbols.
Right.
Yeah.
Where on the iOS version of it is so much more designed and put together.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Anyway.
And then what you're holding up and what you're sharing there, Chad, really reminds me a lot of what we're seeing out of this update. And the home app is needs to be present on the phone for this new UI that's integrated into the power menu to appear.
Got it.
So it's kind of like it's all moving in that direction to get to the point that you're showing off on iOS, where it is integrated. It is just more, seamless to just open it up and be like, I know I need to change that light. You open it up, there's the light control instead of having to scroll through the
seamless to do it in the notification shade? I mean, I don't really. Yeah. It's getting cluttered up there, like
totally.
Well, the answer is always like, well, put it in the notification shade. Like it just seems like it is. Flo, you're right. It is getting cluttered. Yeah.
But then you're dragging down and swiping over and swiping over and swiping over, and it's like, oh my God, it's on the 5th screen. My Hue thing. It would have been shorter for me to just go in the app drawer and find it in alphabetical order. There's some usability things here that I don't know. We should file this away so that, when we finally get some room time with those with our friends, maybe we can,
some room time.
Some room time.
The insinuation of room time there was
and it's funny because we won't be. I mean, we're still in a pandemic, so there's no room time.
Yeah, so room time's a little ways away. For sure.
I'm tired, guys. You gotta.
It's okay.
Forgive me.
I'm there. I'm right there with you.
I know that feeling.
What about the Pixel, Flo? You got the next one.
I was going to say, let's talk about some more things that are coming to our phones that are running Android, which I'm sorry, Chad, means not you, unless you get an Android phone. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So the Google Pixel's 3rd feature drop was announced yesterday, just in time to distract us all from everything else that's going on. Thank goodness. Some of the new features are mere updates, and some things are totally new. So we're going to just kind of go down them real quick. So one of the new features is a new safety check feature. Now, this is just kind of a part of the personal feature app that had been rumored a while back. Another new feature, you can set a time for an app to check in with you. And asks for your status to be sure that you're okay at any given time. So again, this is the personal safety app. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. And this one is just going to be to kind of connect you with like that one emergency contact to kind of help you have a little hub that you can kind of jump into, if you need to use your phone for safety reasons. Also, a couple other features. Options for sharing your location with those emergency contacts or immediately calling 911. And if you get no response, you can contact that emergency contact automatically without, again, digging through the phone. There was also another new feature that was shown off in this feature drop, which was the new bedtime mode. Now, this was actually released, from what I understand, in early May. I haven't played around with any of these features, but
does this help with room time?
Yes, this will help you. This will help you get to bed in your room, in your bedroom. So this bedtime mode, it's in the Clock app. Previously, you may have seen it show up in the why is the name escaping me? Digital Wellbeing app. It tracks your bedtime habits, any apps that are keeping you up at night that you're kind of in too much. It also offers sleep sounds just to kind of help you drift off to sleep at night if you're having a tough time. And lastly, there's a recorder app. Actually, not lastly, the recorder app, which is now controllable via the assistant. So you can kind of start it by going, "Hey G, record this." Also adds automatic transcription to Google Docs, which is super helpful. That way you don't have to worry about copy and pasting and getting that over. And then finally, there's the adaptive battery feature, which predicts when the battery will run out before it completely runs out. So you have plenty of time to get yourself to a charger. Again, these are all just new little Pixel feature drops. So if you have a Pixel, you should be seeing these on your phone soon. Probably not a Pixel 1, though. I think we've stopped updating that.
Yeah, I think so on the Pixel 1. I just checked my system update, and it says I have an update, so I'm doing it right now. But I doubt I'll have it in time for the end of this story, which is any second. But I think it's neat that Google continues to kind of bring new features to the Pixel phone. It certainly adds another kind of element of value for the Pixel line. considering the Pixel is not selling that well, needs all that it can get. So I appreciate it as a Pixel owner. I just don't know how far it goes for everyone else. As far as the drop of the Pixel line.
It's up to us to use these features, let people know how useful they are to us in our daily lives. It's
a tough sell when selling a phone, though. Like, I get that they want to give the phone an edge and a reason to buy it, but it's hard to explain to people about how the adaptive battery is only available on this phone. Like, people just care about the camera and apps and speed, right? Like those, and memory and storage and all that sort of stuff, and price.
I think this is more of a call to the Android using folk who are already, diehards like us. I don't know if it's so much a call to get people to buy the phone, because I'm just thinking about all the Android manufacturers. Like, if you get a OnePlus phone, you have like OnePlus apps that do special things. If you get a Xiaomi phone, you have Xiaomi apps that do special things, that kind of thing. I kind of just see the Pixel, what Google's doing with the Pixel, as playing to that kind of role that the different phones play in this ecosystem. I don't know. It's just
and this allows Google to say, and the Pixel is the phone where we continue to make it better after you get it. And from a marketing standpoint, that's a pretty interesting proposition to make to a consumer. Wait a minute, you're telling me like I'm not stuck with the same phone like every other month? I'm going to get an update that's actually going to improve the phone. Like that's compelling. That's a compelling proposition. So
it's compelling for us, but I'm also still just thinking about all the people I know who never update their phones.
Like my mom. Yeah. How do I convince my mom that this is the one she needs?
Is your mom on iPhone?
No, she's actually all my other family is on, my immediate family is on Android. And my mom is specifically on Pixel because this is 3-4 years ago. She said, I'm up for a phone. Which phone should I get? I want it to be Android. And I said, you should get the Pixel. And she didn't. And she got some Verizon something. And she hated that phone so much that I can't remember if she just ate it and bought a new phone, or if the next time her contract was up and she asked me again, and I said, get a Pixel. And she did, and was like, wow, it was so much better. And so now she is locked onto the Pixel brand as the brand that she needs, just like with any other type of brand. And so, she's a Pixel user, 100%.
Wow.
So here's the question about that, Chad. Why are you on the show and not your mom?
I know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And so then the follow-up question is, can you give her information to Jason so we can book Chad's mom on a future show to talk about the Pixel experience?
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm thinking of my mom with this article, right? Like, is she gonna care about adaptive battery, about something that schedules apps to check? Like, no, she isn't. She'll probably do the update. She's very security focused. So if she sees an update, she will take the time out of her day to update her phone. But I don't think she's going to read the release notes to figure out that there's a new thing. That
she's more aware than a lot of people. It sounds like a lot of people when they get their phones. She's
a manager at a tech company. She's pretty aware.
She's with it. Nice.
Heretofore, we shall refer to her as OMG Mom.
I love it. I love it.
Internet. She refers to herself as OMG Mom too. So
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Let's take a break, thank the sponsor, and then we will get into some interesting hardware news. This episode of All About Android is brought to you, a new sponsor on this show, by Manscaped. So Manscaped, let me tell you all about Manscaped. This is all about, for men, but also for women. I mean, it's true. We got to, take care of ourselves down there, right? Trim it up a little bit, keep it clean, keep it fresh, all that kind of stuff. It's important to think about this stuff, right? You need to, it's important. There's a lot going on in this world. You don't want to let your personal hygiene fall to the wayside. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. Just take that in for a moment. They just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. It's their third generation trimmer. And it has a whole lot of features, a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Accidents when you're manscaping, no fun. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. You're welcome. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. And I'm telling you, this is premium. The device is premium. When you get it, it looks premium. It feels premium. You're going to want to use it and to put it on the shelf and present it to the world if ever they come into your bathroom and see that you have the Manscaped lawnmower sitting there. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. Take your time, Take care of yourself. Don't rush it. Rushing it is when accidents happen, so don't do that, all right? One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. And I mentioned it in passing. Let's not forget the charging stand. It comes with a charging stand so you can show off your prized possession. You can show off the mower loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a rapid charging dock that's powered by USB. Just drop it on. It charges it super fast. So if you're in a manscaping hurry or a Manscaped emergency, don't worry about it. It doesn't take that long to charge up, and you can do what you need to do and get out the door. If you're looking for a great gift without leaving the house, get the Perfect Package 3.0 plus peak hygiene plan for the ungroomed in your life. By the way, Father's Day is coming up, and this is a great gift for Father's Day, for birthdays. If you're listening to me speaking right now, you may be laughing, and that's okay. But I want you to experience this firsthand for yourself. So here's how you can do it. Trim that junk of yours and get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com, code Android. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com, code Android. Do that, and you will see that I am telling you the honest truth. This kit is amazing, and you want it for yourself. Manscaped.com, code Android. We thank Manscaped for their support of this show.
If there's anything I've learned from hosting the GizWiz, a gadget podcast, is that there are people out there that when they hear a gadget that they have not heard of before, they're like, I have to buy that. I absolutely need that product. And I feel like that is Manscaped. There's definitely a portion of the people listening that are like, holy moly, finally, I'm buying that immediately.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you. It's true.
I just want to thank them for blessing us with all that stuff for you to talk about, Jason. That was fantastic. All right, so why don't we move on from that to hardware?
Time for some hardware. Let's do it.
All right.
Wow.
So one of my many favorite exciting things about the world of Android is Android TV and TV devices in general. And Chad, you're a big media person as well. Do you have like a Roku stick or a NVIDIA Shield?
He has an Apple TV, I bet.
Apple TV,
yeah,
right?
So I have two TCL TVs that have Roku installed. In fact, I have my own Roku app, by the way.
Ooh.
Look for OMG Craft in the Roku App Store. And
Mr. Millions.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. So I use Roku a lot because that's built into the TV, and then I have a few Apple TVs around as well.
Just lying around, just like all over the house, just like currency.
It's because he wants to watch that Jennifer Aniston series. That's why, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Yeah. No. What was that?
Reese Witherspoon just shine in that.
The morning show.
The morning show.
Yes.
I actually did watch that, and I was impressed. It like came full circle, and it ended up being a very good show.
It was funny because I ranted when Apple TV Plus or whatever launched because I just thought it was, and because I was all mad because I'm like, what if I wanted to watch a show? I physically can't being an Android user. And I go, plus I'm not paying for this, etc. Turns out I had actually bought a new Mac Mini desktop, and with it I got a free year subscription. And so I was like, oh, so I have it. I'm like, okay, so and I'm like, well, still I can't watch it. I'm like, oh no, you can watch in the browser. And I was like, well, I guess I could pull it up and then Chromecast it to my TV and watch it that way. And it was so much work, I just never even bothered. So I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
so
I thought it was going to be like, yes, Chrome. I'm using Chromecast as the middleman here. It makes everything worth it.
I mean, can you cast the screen, Ron? I'm curious, and maybe anybody out there who's curious. Can you cast the screen like from the native screen casting functionality?
Well, no, you can you can do it from the browser. From if you're watching the video in Chrome, you can use Chrome's casting thing.
Okay, so there's no like weird DRM or something, because I've run into that where it's like no casting allowed.
To be honest, I didn't try, so maybe I should do that before next week.
I just think there's maybe a subset of people who listen to us who might be curious, because I know.
I'm sure someone has tried. If you've tried, email us, let us know.
Yes,
you can email us at aaa@twit.tv. But the reason why we're talking about TV is because there have been rumors of a new Android TV dongle similar to the Roku dongle and Fire Stick from Amazon and things like that. And XDA actually got hold of renders of what likely will be that upcoming Android TV dongle and the remote. So keep in mind that these are renders, so these aren't the actual product shots, but they're pretty darn convincing. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Coral.
It goes with this. It goes with the home aesthetic that they've been doing. Yeah. So these are pulled from a pre-release firmware build, and it is codenamed Sabrina, as those watching on the video can see the stylized graphic that says Sabrina next to the device. It comes in 3 color options: black, white, and pink. And we're seeing on the video the pink version, which is more of a coral, I agree, kind of a light pink.
Meanwhile, these are dongles that are hidden behind your TV, so I think the color options thing is pretty hilarious.
It's pointless.
That's why I made a comment. Yeah.
But that said, when they did the red Chromecast dongle, I bought the heck out of that one. I given the option to buy a color, I will always buy the color. I will always buy the bold color.
Fair enough.
I didn't think about that. But blush pink, though, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's strange. It's strange.
It will match my rose gold television.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not. I'm sorry to be stuck on this pink thing. It's just. Anyway, there's just renders. Sorry, keep going, Ron. I'm interrupting you.
Also, Chad, don't get Flo excited by the idea of a rose gold TV.
Please don't, because actually, because then it's over.
Yeah. Even though rose gold is so 2016.
It is. Right. It is.
Anyway, so these renders also showed part of the remote, but the bottom half is cut off, so we don't know if there's a pesky Netflix button like on my Nvidia Shield remote, which my daughter constantly hits when we're watching Disney Plus or Mr. Rogers on Amazon Prime, and then we go, oh,
Google
Netflix.
Wouldn't do that, right? Google would do
honestly,
that, right?
If there was a way to disable that Netflix button, I would. But yeah, I don't think they would. I don't think they will. But anyway, the remote does have an assistant button, which is interesting. It's right up there at the top.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If I trust anyone with a voice search that is not stupid, it's Google. So you could say, "Hey, play that Friends episode where such and such happened." Like only Google would be able to figure that out.
I was about to say that the Nvidia Shield has the Google Assistant on it and with the remote, and I use voice search all the time. And I will say that I was going to agree with you, Chad. I think it's fantastic. But then you gave the example of saying, hey, G, play that episode of Friends where this happens. And you might be setting the bar a little higher than what Assistant can do based on my experience.
Dang it.
Yeah. I hate to say that. I keep interrupting Ron, and I feel feeling bad.
No, it's okay. It's pretty good though. It's pretty good though for just like play Mr. Rogers, and then it does it. So, but anyway, also included in this was some shots of the new UI for Android TV, which is completely a different approach from the current generation of Android TV devices. There's no indication of whether it will still be Android TV or Google TV, as the rumors alluded to recently. The UI will include the ability to monitor the smart home, back to the smart home, including Nest doorbells and video cameras. And of course, it's expected to be Stadia compatible because, got to sell those Stadias.
Stadia.
So, yeah. So what do we think of this?
But I hope I'm not ignorant on this. The last time I heard about Android TV, I thought it died. Like, I thought Android TV was dead and everyone was moving to casting. Like, I remember those big, like, Blu-ray style, like, Android TV boxes that you'd put down.
You're not ignorant. Like, you're just in a different ecosystem because you didn't hear about it because you are very comfortable where you are, and I'm not. No, Flo, I think that. I think that you were.
I don't think that's the case, though. I don't think that's the case. I think he's actually right. Is that what happened was is that Chromecast did rise out of the ashes of Android TV, and really what happened Google with Android TV, Google TV, Google TV went away, that Blu-ray box, but Android TV did continue, as some TV integration, like software level integration, like you open the TV and it's got Android TV. But really, the only thing that's been carrying the flag for Android TV has been the NVIDIA Shield, which is a little box. Not a dongle, although the new version has a dongle, but it's a little set-top box that is running Android TV. And I moved over to that because we talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago. Chromecast was driving me nuts in terms of dropping connection and all that sort of thing. But for many, many years, Google's main focus was Chromecast, and it looks as if they are kind of, not that throwing in the towel on Chromecast, but admitting that these dongles work. That this kind of approach, is better for the consumer.
Yeah,
I think it's better from a design sense because all you have to do is plug it into an existing screen, and that screen can be anything with HDMI in it. Because a set-top box, you have a set-top box. It's like you feel like that needs to go into the living room, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
the other thing is, a lot of people have bought smart TVs and all they've done is got dumber and dumber and dumber. And if you can just buy a dumb TV with an HDMI port that you can stick a new thing into, I think that is the best of all worlds.
That's the best advice Patrick Norton gave to me back in 2007 or so, was like, just buy a dumb monitor and plug stuff into it. You don't want to buy. You don't want to buy a TV that's going to, because at some point they're going to stop updating that software. You're going to be stuck with it, and that's completely what happened. I actually bought I fell for it a couple of years ago. I bought a 32-inch Vizio that had Chromecast installed on the TV level. I'm like, this is great. I don't need a dongle. It'll work. They stopped updating it in 2017. Yeah. So it's not running. It's not, so I actually literally plugged in a Chromecast Ultra into the TV with Chromecast at the OS level just to get the latest version of Chromecast to help with my connection drop problems, and it still didn't help. But anyway,
Yep, and slowly over time, the TV gets slower and slower. When it's loaded with all those smart apps, they never seem to run quite as fast and responsive as you could get on a nice set-top box of some sort. Yeah, but you can't find.
I don't know,
TVs
guys. You keep talking about fast and responsive. I'm going to tell you, my life on the Mi Box, it's not.
Well, there you go.
So.
Mi Box has not proven itself at this state. At this point.
No.
It's kind of faltered. The Shield TV is the way to go.
I know, but it's $200, and I only spent $50 on that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, this would be in that similar price range, and I would guess that Google would do this pretty well. Especially coming out with kind of a tentpole like flagship device to act as like the new delivery. Hardware for the new experience, whether it's Android TV or Google TV. I would hope that Google would do this right, and for that price, it's pretty compelling. So I'm looking forward to it. And it also, the integration going in the Nest direction with the naming convention, potentially having smart home controls built into the interface. It's just another kind of clue as far as where Google's at right now with this, like, the 2020 iteration of hardware being smart home focused even more so than it has been already. So I think that's even further indication as far as what the focus of Android 11 is going to be.
It is all about the home. It is all about the home of Google right now. It's all the Nest Hub devices and the thermostat, and like to Chad's point earlier, you had Nest out here and you had Google Home and all the stuff. They're bringing it all under one umbrella, and every announcement is driving to that. So.
Yeah. I think that explains the blush pink Chromecast supposed Android TV dongle. I think that explains a little more, because as I think about it, like that design paradigm is exactly what I saw on display at that Pixel New York event in October.
Right.
I mean, they had done so much to kind of show us the whole design family and just what all these products look like next to each other. The Pixel smartphones, the Buds, the Homes, the smart displays, the Chromebooks, everything just like matches in this really approachable design paradigm. I don't know. It's exciting because I love it. I'm really into it. But it's making me think a lot about the direction that this is all going in. Very different from the beginning days of being in this ecosystem, where it just felt like I'm using this product. This is for people who want open source things, for people who want customization. But now it's like I'm buying into a very precise lifestyle that Google is selling. I mean, ultimately.
Yep. Welcome to this show.
I've got more to talk about lifestyle if we want to segue to the next bit. So one other part of that kind of design paradigm is the affordable Pixel, which is the A series, I guess we should call them. Now, there was a rumor there was going to be a Pixel 4a XL alongside the regular old Pixel 4a, but it sounds like maybe it was probably canceled. Again, these are all rumors, so that's why there's a lot of maybe, probably mentioned in there. So sounds like it was canceled because there are some renders of what that backside might have looked like if it had gone through the manufacturer belt. So some prototype replacement back covers for the Pixel 4a XL have hit eBay. There's always something in the eBay hole if you just go down far enough that you will find it. It seems that these renders or these photos that are on eBay show the camera module is sized the same as the 4A, and that it includes a square design, which if you look at the 4, which I'm looking at it on my wall over here in front of me, it looks very much like what is on the 4. Also appears to show the 4A XL having a second camera, which possibly maybe would have made it a little more money than what the 4A's base price is, kind of meant to be. But we have nothing confirmed for this. This is all conjecture. So I guess I'm wondering, everyone else here, why do we think that Google decided to forego the 4A XL? Like, do we think that that's what really happened? Or do we think that it's because of everything that's going on? I mean, what are some of our theories? I'm theorizing that it just didn't make sense to try and sell an XL when the original 4 and 4 XL were kind of tepid, in their product sales.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, finding out that the 4A XL had 2 cameras versus the 4A's 1, like maybe when Google was approaching, having a mid-range, a mid-range device to fill that price category, maybe it just made it kind of muddied the waters a little bit to have different different scales of capability within that mid-range.
It's very Motorola move for Motorola's like G series.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the 3A and the 3A XL were basically the same. They were just 2 different sizes. Yeah. In this case, it would be the 4A had 1 camera. The 4A XL had 2 cameras, but maybe that muddies the kind of marketing message of, hey, we're offering a mid-range phone. No bells and whistles. It's just good for what it does. And maybe offering a second device configuration just kind of made that message a little bit less clear. I honestly, I don't know. It's just a guess, but I don't know.
I gotta imagine that there's. I gotta imagine that there's some sort of product research and there's some sort of market research that they're. I can only I don't know. I mean, I feel bad because my business experience is often tied with startups and smaller organizations that are kind of going by the seat of their pants. And I haven't had the opportunity to work at a mega enormous hardware company like Google or like anything else. So, but I'm hoping that there's someone who sits down and says, okay, what is the market potential for each of these devices and how much is it going to cost us to make them and all this sort of stuff, and it becomes a math problem, not a math problem, but an answer that is derived through calculations to determine whether or not it's worth investing in.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can come up conceptually with any idea. It doesn't mean that there's someone there to buy it.
Totally. Right.
Yeah.
And at least this way, I mean, we still don't even know if the price is going to be the same, $400 for the 4A. I think there were some rumors that said it would be $350. Then you start getting into this budget-minded, like I said, muddying the waters where Google's like, there was something really nice about the fact that like this phone is this, you can get it in 2 sizes, and we're done with the messaging. Now you got to explain the differences between the two and blah, blah, and who the heck knows. So,
it's
we
too
probably
confusing.
won't have to wait too long to find. Yeah, right. Maybe it's too confusing. So we do have an email, AAA@twit.tv, from Nick. Nick is the gentleman who wrote in last week about YouTube Music and Google Play Music, and well, specifically about downloading the full library from his Google Play Music account, going to the website and seeing that you couldn't do it through there, even though the button says that you should be able to. It's just very confusing. Anyways, we answered his questions, so he followed up. He said, I still do not, thank you for reading the email. I still do not have the ability to transfer my library to YouTube Music. However, with your help, I was able to download my Google Play Music library. Yay, it worked. And put it on my Plex server. I've been playing around with both the Plex app and Plex Amp, which I do like. I enjoy the interface. Some of the stations are cool. Downside is while Plex is available on Android Auto, Plex Amp isn't, and I find the experience not that great in the car. And the other issue is there doesn't seem to be any integration with Plex and Plex Amp and Assistant, so I don't get the Google Home devices to play with voice commands, which is a real bummer. And I would agree, that is actually a big downside in doing that, because, man, I use my Google Home to play music like that all the time. I hope that Plex is able to rope that in some capacity. I bet that it will never be as clear and as clean as what Google does for its own services, but it would be nice if they got there. So, yay, the suggestion worked. He continues, though. He says, so here's hoping to spark a discussion between y'all. One of the biggest selling points of paying a monthly fee for Google Play Music was to be able to access any of the content on there, whether I owned it or not. There are many songs and albums that I could click add to library, and it was lumped in with the rest of my stuff. I do that all the time, by the way. Probably not surprising, but none of this content exported. That's not surprising at all. He says, I'm a musician, not professionally, so I understand about artists getting compensated. However, do you think I should have been able to export that content? Haven't I paid for it probably several times over with my monthly charges? Do you know if this content ports over to YouTube Music? And then if it do port to YouTube Music, is it still available on Google Play Music? So there's a couple of questions there, but I would say the answer is yes. It may, for me anyways, it makes a lot of sense that the music that you added to your library in Google Play Music doesn't download for you when you download, because the service was never pay a subscription and own the music. It was always paying for the rental of that music, right? Do you guys think that should happen?
Like most streaming services. I mean, that's the thing, is that you can't, you can download stuff locally, but it's only to play within that device. You can't extract it from that device. I mean, that's why I really preferred to buy the album and download the MP3s and load the MP3s to Google Play Music, and that way I own the music. I had a copy locally, but the issue with that is I got rampant when Google Play Music installed matching and was matching the album that I'd uploaded to the album that was on the service. I would get double tracks, and it was just a mess. I
remember that.
Yeah,
it's all a mess. The whole music thing is a mess.
It's a giant mess, and you know what's a real bummer is that it's a mess because it's all these companies trying to compete for us to use their services. But I think that's the frustrating part of it is they want us to use these services, but they're not making it in a way where it's super user friendly to the user. Yeah. It's
consumer friendly. Yeah. To answer his question though, his question was that whether or not when you port your Google Play Music library to YouTube Music, if the stuff is still available in YouTube Music, that was available in Google Play Music, I'm fairly and Jason and Flo, go check me if I'm wrong. I'm fairly certain it is. Because on YouTube Music, when you go to your library, you have you have two options, which are YouTube Music and then uploads. And in the upload section is all of the stuff that I uploaded from my local kind of thing. So it all ported over, and what they're doing is they're drawing a line between the stuff that I uploaded and the stuff that I added to my library from the Google Play Music service. So like it's almost I don't want to say ghettoizing. That's probably too dramatic of a word, but it's setting up walls between those two groups of content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they end up there. It's just it's not as seamless because, like you said, they're split into two different categories. But if you added it to your library in Google Play Music, it does end up in the app. It's just sorted very differently. And then your last question, when you do port to YouTube Music, is it still available in Google Play Music? Yes, my library is still in Google Play Music. I'm still using Google Play Music. I probably will until the day that they kill the service.
Agreed.
Personally.
So
Chad,
what's also hang on, Jason, before you get to Chad. What's also interesting, I just wanted to check if you search for an artist that I know I've uploaded content for. My worry was that it would go right to that artist page, wouldn't let me access it. But the search result page does the same split between YouTube Music and uploads. So I see what is the music for that artist available via the platform and videos and playlists and all that nonsense. But then I also see my uploads, and I can access the music that I uploaded.
Okay. Chad, what music service do you use?
So what's funny is I use basically all of them, and I still pay for all of them. So I have
baller.
I use Google, YouTube Music. I use Google Play Music, and I bought in the moment it started. And back then they still do a deal where if you sign up, it only costs like $7.99 instead of the $9.99.
Yep. Yeah,
and if you never
the front,
yeah, you keep it. So I'm still paying only $7.99, and with it shutting down, I'm kind of freaking out. Like, it's not a big freak out, but like, is that going to increase my price? Because when they started the YouTube Premium stuff, you got YouTube Premium if you were paying for Google Play Music, and I am. So I have YouTube Premium for only $7.99 instead of the $9.99. But I also pay for Spotify. I also pay for Apple Music. So I have like all of them.
And how do you determine which one to use in any given moment? Like one versus the other?
I use Spotify almost exclusively for Twitch streaming because I subscribe to a service that will give me royalty-free music, and they have a nice Spotify playlist. And so Spotify is kind of, to me, like this trash heap of like, it thinks that I love like EDM and like house music because that's what I play on my streams, and it just thinks that I'm like really into like techno. And then, but that Spotify works really well on my PC, where iTunes is horrible on my PC. So I tend to, if there's a song I know that I want to listen to, I'll go to Spotify if I'm on my PC. Then I'll use Apple Music kind of on my phone. It sometimes I'll load it up on the PC if I was listening to something on my phone. It just works really well with my phone, and it is way better at knowing what I actually like and suggesting things that I actually like. And at this point, Google Play Music is seriously just there because I want YouTube Premium and I don't want to look at ads. And so that's why I ended up paying for all of them.
Wow. Okay. Well, you have a process. That's a lot to filter through, but it makes a lot of sense as you talk through that. It's like, what do you do with that many music services? Craziness. Cool.
Burke, unmute Ron.
What was that?
Ron is silent.
It was muted on me. I hit the mic and I hit the button. I I didn't realize. My apologies.
Oh, okay. It was on Ron. It was on Ron.
I got one of those emails, Chad, from Google about because now I have Google Play Music and I have YouTube Music, and I need to resolve my account because I signed up for the $7.99 one, but I also signed up for YouTube Red, which then became YouTube Premium. Yeah. And I tried to untangle it like a year or two ago, and I started seeing ads on YouTube again. So I panicked and signed up for it again. And now I'm afraid to adjust anything because I do not want to see ads on YouTube ever. So
there was a time that I lost my credit card, so I got a new number, and the process of updating my credit card number took me to like these weird places on Google I have never been, because it was like so old. Like it was not in the norm. I was like, okay, it's probably on the Google Play Store, so I updated it there. Nope, it's in like this weird subscription page, and like I felt like I was going like deep into like AdSense at one point. Like I was like, how do I just update my card? And because it had been tied into YouTube at one point, I was weird. So yeah, no, definitely sometimes it gets tangled and it's like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think now's a good time to take a pause and thank LegalZoom for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. Especially when you're trying to untangle all your subscriptions and all your agreements and things like that. Good thing LegalZoom is there because, hey, listen, it's a whole new world out there and we're faced with new challenges. If you need legal help to overcome some of yours, that's where LegalZoom fits in. Maybe you've been wondering about the best way to protect your family, or maybe you're thinking about starting a business, but you don't know the best way to do it. Not only the best way to do it, or the right way to do it. I didn't know the right way to do it when I started, when I filed my first LLC and did all that stuff. I had no idea. And a lot of people let legal questions keep them from doing starting the businesses or protecting their family or doing the things that they need and want to do. But listen, you don't have to let legal questions hold you back. LegalZoom has been dedicated to helping you with the right solutions for more than 19 years. If you're looking to protect your family with a will or a living trust, or you're thinking about the right way to start a business with a DBA, LLC, nonprofit, or more, LegalZoom's got you covered. And it's easy to get started online. If you need guidance, their network of attorneys can provide advice to ensure you make the right choices. And since LegalZoom isn't a law firm, you won't have to leave your home and you won't get charged by the hour. And exactly, I've over the years, I've started businesses, I've filed LLCs, I filed S corps, I've done all this various stuff. Had no idea what I was doing. Never consulted a lawyer. One of my, my current company is getting ready to launch, and we need a privacy policy, we need terms and conditions, we know stuff like that. I'm not a lawyer. I need a place to figure all that stuff out. Luckily, LegalZoom is there, and LegalZoom is there to provide that advice and that guidance to help you. And since they're not a law firm, they're not going to nickel and dime you and stretch out all those billable hours. You get the answers you need in an efficient, easy way, thanks to their website and all the support that they give. So visit LegalZoom.com today and take care of some important things you need to get done. That's LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom, where life meets legal. And thanks, LegalZoom, for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you, cool. LegalZoom. All right. For this last segment before we get into the arena, we thought since we have you on, Chad, we'd spend a little time talking about what, you've lived your device life on both sides. You've lived with Android. You're living now with iOS. You've got a good relationship with iOS now. You've been together.
You've lived your truth
4 or 5.
with both operators.
Yeah. Thought we'd talk a little bit about kind of the things that Android gets right, the things that iOS gets right, and maybe even the flip side of that. We don't have to talk too long about this, but is there anything that's kind of top of mind to you as far as like what you've missed in your time away from Android, or what you love about iOS that you found now?
Yeah, so definitely the things that I've missed, the two things that pop to mind really quickly are the openness or just the ease of other apps to be developed to get more at the core of the phone. And I actually ran into this recently where I was getting more and more into live streaming mobile. So going out into the world and doing a live stream. And the easiest way to do it is just use your phone. But I wanted things like whenever someone donates, for the donate to read on stream. And some of those functionality, it was impossible to do with my phone or iPad or anything like that. And every guide that I was seeing was like, get an Android phone. Like just get an Android. Go buy a cheap Android phone or buy an Android phone that is good enough to, render a live stream, and just do that, because all of the software works way better for Android. And it's all because iOS is just on the rails. You have to live inside their little box, and something like having a web page speak through the microphone of the device is like impossible to do. So that's number one, is being able to actually do some type of like hacked development for it. And then
before you go on to number two, does that mean that you have two different devices when you're in these scenarios? Like, do you have an Android device that you use for that reason?
So I didn't. It was definitely an experiment to do the live streaming, and so I didn't want to sink like $500 into a new phone. So I hacked together a whole other situation where I got a old Microsoft Surface that I had and used some software that it would never go to sleep, and then got a big battery and then like plugged it into that. And so then I got a Wi-Fi puck, and then that would be the internet, and then it would go. So literally I would just carry a computer on my back whenever I tried to do that. And I only did those streams like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, so that was my solution, was just so no Android phone there. All right. And then the other reason is just how integrated it is with Google's stuff, because on my iPhone, I'm still living in Gmail, in Calendar. I prefer the Google Assistant over any other home assistant, over Amazon Echoes. Siri doesn't really work, like at all. So I'm still I feel like that's I feel like that's the biggest like uncapped or like open secret amongst everyone.
Yeah.
Is that
Siri
started off as this amazing thing, and everyone's like, oh, Siri, and like So, sorry. All right, go on. Totally. And I use my the Google Home all the time. Like it is so built into my nature to use it that if I am traveling or at like my parents' house or something, I will literally just yell out into space like, okay, and then ask a question. And I'm like, I can't do that. They don't have that here in their house. Like, I'll just be like, set a timer for 3 minutes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you guys don't have that, do you? And also,
Chad, who are you talking to?
It's exactly. They're like, who is this Google person? And I just love how it can be. You can ask it kind of like a weird question, and it will get it. And nothing else will do that. And
you can fight with it too, that. By the way.
Yeah.
You're like, fight with it, and it will respond. It will have a conversation with you.
Yes. So like that sort of stuff, I would love to be more integrated into my phone. It still is slightly integrated. Like if I say, how long will it take me to get to Best Buy? It will send me, because I have the Assistant app on my iPhone, it'll send you a notification, but it's not fully integrated. And I really, really do like Google services. So that is something that I miss too. Those are 2 big things. So Chad, that's it. It's quite an important list you got there. Would you ever consider switching back? I would totally switch back. Okay, I don't know. I would switch back. It's really the hardest thing is iMessage. Is now I have so many friends on iMessage, and it's not the same as text message. And I have been in those groups where you see the stupid like, so-and-so loved this, and then it puts the entire message there, and it's like, this is the worst way to ever implement
right,
a thing.
But it's better than nothing, I will say.
It is better than nothing, but it's pretty annoying, and iMessage is so iMessage kind of has me locked in, but other than that, if there was a great phone that did like really, really good photos or video, like that blew the iPhone out of the water, like maybe like super slow-mo, like an 8K or something like that. I have no idea what it would have to be. yeah, I would switch, and it was inexpensive, and it could get me off of a contract. Like I'm still on contract with a payment plan right now. If it was cheap enough to get me out of that payment plan, I'd do it. But I just don't see that type of phone existing, basically.
I don't know. The Pixel 4a might be your solution. I don't know about slow-mo, but it has a great camera. It's
if
really
only they would have come out with the XL.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they won't have the XL. So,
and not only an XL, but an XL with prioritized cellular coverage, so that you never, you always have a Wi-Fi hotspot. No, it was actually really funny was that, and I thought this was an interesting iOS, Android use case or whatnot. A friend of mine who is not one of us, who's not a tech person, she works in media and works in production and television, but isn't tech savvy like we all. Texted me asking if cars have Wi-Fi. And I was just like, well, kind of. I'm like, some new cars have LTE, which is like essentially having a phone in the car that then you can have Wi-Fi within the car, but it's not great. And
but
blah,
did
blah,
she
blah.
want to like hotspot to it? Is the big question.
That's. I was like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm going crazy in the city. I just want to get out, and I just want to get in a car and take my laptop and be able to work on the road. I'm like, what kind of phone do you have? And she's like, I have an iPhone. I was like, you totally can. I'm like, you can set up a hotspot and just do that. And she's like, oh, really? I can. And I just sent her the Apple knowledge base on how to set up a hotspot on iPhone. And she's like, oh, I had no idea I could do this. And I was like, yeah, no, I do it all the time with my phone. Like I can work anywhere because of it. We have it on Android and we're able to. And she's like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Thank you. And like, people just don't know what their devices can do.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And
my mom
like
just
on
figured
both
out hotspots too.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that this is even like an Android versus iOS thing. It's a general thing. Going back to what we were talking about with the homes features and all this sort of stuff, that these little boxes can do a lot, and people don't. And it's literally just a phone or a camera or a web browser or Instagram or whatever it is, and people don't realize that you have a hotspot with you wherever you go, and all you need is a good cell signal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. No. Anyway, there's a little case study for you. I don't know.
Love it.
Android's better. No, I don't know.
Yay. Thank you, Chad, for sharing all that.
Of course.
Love it. All right. So we are going to have an arena, and we've got 4 pretty awesome apps. So let's jump in.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
All right, looking at the poll results from last week, episode 474, and Strava wins with 38%. Wow, not bad.
That is so close.
Citra Emulator, second place at 32%, and Clockify, third place at 29, almost 30%. So this is a pretty even race competition between all 3 apps.
I have to say, I don't know what I'm more shocked at. I'm more shocked at that Clockify, my time tracking app, didn't win, or the fact that I was that close in the running with it. So, yeah, I mean, up against Strava and a Nintendo 3DS emulator or whatever it is. Time tracking is much cooler, right? Anyway, so through 21 weeks in the arena, Flo is firmly ensconced in first place with 56 points. Jason is in second place with 52 points. I'm in third place with 48 points, and the guests have 43 points. And it is going to be very interesting to see with Chad in the arena. But Jason, we're taking a different approach to the arena this week, right?
Yeah, we thought in light of everything that is kind of happening right now, we would kind of return to what we used to do in the arena years ago. The arena in the beginning of the show used to be themed. And we've talked about this on the show a number of times since then. And people have emailed to say, hey, that would be great for you to do that again. We thought today we would kind of tackle a theme more around kind of like affecting change and social change and social good, and bringing some apps that can maybe raise awareness for certain efforts that are happening in the social landscape right now, apps that might protect you if participating in, let's say, a protest or whatever you happen to be doing in this moment in time, these are some apps that can hopefully bring about some positive change for society in some way. That was kind of the overarching kind of goal or theme around this arena. So we've got some great apps to show off. Ron, you came in last place last week, so you'll be going first.
I will be going first. And so what I find really interesting, we get takeout a lot. We're trying to support the local restaurants. We can't go dine in. So we're getting takeout a lot. And the Seamless app, or my app is not Seamless, by the way, but I'm giving the example. I started using Seamless when we had the babies about a year and a half ago. And they had a great kind of thing where you could round up your bill and donate the change to a charity. And so I've been doing that on Seamless, and that's great because these increments of 75 cents here, 40 cents there, 30 cents there, they add up over time. And especially in this time period where we're getting takeout 2-3 times a week, it can be impactful. And so I like that concept. And so when I came across the app that I have here, I liked it because it's taking that same concept but applying it to the charities of your choice across all of your purchases. So the app is called Roundup. And essentially it is, there's a lot of personal information in the app, so I'm not going to demo it. We're just going to use the screenshots in the Google Play Store. But essentially what it can do is you access the app, you load in your information, you pick a charity that you would like to support. And then what it does is it monitors your credit or debit card purchases. And so, for example, through their example in the next screen, actually, their next one, Burke, for those watching the video, for example, if you spend $3.80 to buy coffee, it will round up to the nearest dollar and donate that difference of 20 cents to the charity of your choice. So on all of your purchases, it will basically round them up to the nearest dollar, take that little bit of change, and keep donating it, keep a steady stream of donations going. So what that enables you to do is, if they, especially right now, if you're looking to support Black Lives Matters or the Southern Poverty Law Firm or any of the kind of organizations right now that do need help, or if you want to, with the larger pandemic issue, a lot of folks, Feed America and food banks and things like that. The listing of charities that you can submit to within this app is exhaustive. A lot of them are very local. I believe there were over, 9,000 charities listed on the app. They vet them. If you know of a charity that wants to be able to get it, you go on their website and you're able to load in the information and get them in there. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. They have over 900,000 nonprofits that you can choose from. So depending on what your particular area of focus that you want to support, you can take all those. It's basically it's a digital version of your change jar. And so taking 50 cents, 70 cents there at a time and sending it to a way of good, it will add up in the long run and help you make an impact with every purchase you make with that credit or debit card. So it's called Roundup app. You can go to roundupapp.com to read more information about it. It's free in the Google Play Store, real easy to set up. They walk you through a nice wizard where you give them your information, you load your credit card information, and then you choose your charity, and then you can do some good with everything with just living your life just by getting coffee or getting a sandwich at the deli. So there you go, Roundup app, free in the Google Play Store.
Love it. Great suggestion, Roundup app. I think we've even had some apps in the arena that are Roundup, and then that extra amount goes into savings. That's another kind of type of another kind of direction that these types of apps and services go in. But this way you're giving to charity. What a great thing for your spare change to go to. That's awesome. That is Roundup app. My app is, similar in the direction of help and support that is being given. It's called Givz, Givz, and this is a service that launched a couple of years ago. The app, I was surprised to find, it does not have a whole lot of installs. It's very low. It's like 100 plus installs, so very minimal number of app installs. And essentially, this is the app is designed to kind of make giving to charity as easy as using Venmo or something to Venmo someone some money. Really sets everything up in an easy to navigate way. to where you just have a whole list of, trending charities. Let's say right now, if there's something trending amongst users, and by the way, this is iOS and Android, so don't let the number of installs on Android kind of fool you. They also, actually do a lot through their website, but you get kind of an updated list of charities that are kind of in the minds of the people that are using the app right now. And you can, of course, star to favorite them or tap in to kind of read a little bit more about who these organizations are, who they represent, who they help, that sort of stuff. And it just makes it really easy to kind of find a charity that you like. Tap, they've got a number of different denominations that you can tap right to, give $50, boom, takes you right over. You can select if you want it to be an anonymous donation, or if you want it to be a recurring donation, you can set that up, and you enter in your details, and boom, it's made. You don't have to go find the charity necessarily and seek them out and, go through their site and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for different, all of these nonprofits that you can donate to, and just makes it really easy to do. And not to mention, the donations like this in the U.S. are tax deductible. So if you're doing all of this through this app, when it comes time to to do your taxes and everything, you kind of got all of that in one place. So it makes it a little bit easier there as well. So it's called Givz, Givz, and I just thought it was it was well designed, and information. There's enough information there without being overwhelming. You can link out to the site, or you can just stay within the app and do all the donation and you're giving there. Excuse me. Who wouldn't like this cause? It's a great way to give. So it's called Givz, Givz. Check it out. It is free. All right, Chad. You also have an app now. Woo-hoo. Obviously, you are iOS, but this is an app that's iOS and Android. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I made sure to find an app that was supported on both. It's called In Lieu, and the name is basically like it's very synonymous with what it does. So instead of giving a friend or family member a physical gift, you can give them a gift in lieu of that gift. And so this is a way to support charities with a gift. So instead of giving them a physical gift, you would give a donation to a charity that would basically be supported or inspired by the person that the gift was supposed to go to. So in lieu of a gift, you can give to charity. And I have it on my phone here. And so one kind of cool thing is that you set up your own profile. And so I can say, oh, these are the charities that I would like you to give to, if it would say like my birthday or something like that. And so you could set up, like 3-4 different charities that you feel like is good. By the way, Charity Navigator is a great resource to find good charities. And then you can also give to friends also just by clicking the give button. And then it kind of asks you like, who do you want to give it to? And then you would enter their information there as well. And then there's a ton of different charities in here. You can search by the name. You can search by a category. So inside of here, I could even go to say like civil rights. There we go. And then I could search through a list of sort of whitelisted charities here at the top, which is kind of neat. And then I would click one of those to add it to my favorites list. There's also events that go on. So right now there's some COVID stuff going on there at the top for public events. So if you want to join an event, you can do that as well. And so I just thought it was kind of a cool way. Instead of a physical gift, give a donation, which would be inspired by the person that you would have given the gift to anyway. Kind of neat. And it doesn't have a ton of reviews. Like it seemed like such a good app. It only has like 14 reviews. Feels like should be something lots of people do. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, In Lieu is kind of in a similar vein as Givz as far as like the number of installs and everything. It's kind of like I'm surprised on both of them to look and be like, okay, yeah, this deserves a whole lot more. So I love the idea of that, because a lot of people would prefer that, right? Like there's just a lot of people in this world, they have everything they need. They don't need a gift.
Yeah, I'm 30-something. I got all the stuff I want.
Right. Exactly. So it's in lieu. One word, INLIEU. And you should find it that way. Great pick. Love it. All right. And Flo, the current leader of the arena, what you got?
So actually, I brought an app that's not so much about, well, this app is supposed to help you if you are planning on going out and protesting for Black Lives Matter. I want to encourage you to take some precautions on your smartphone against any potential surveillance that may otherwise indict you. Or incriminate you, I guess I should say. So DuckDuckGo, it turns out, has not been in the arena. And This is an app that I use when I would like to do research without having it kind of touch my Google algorithm. And so I figured that this would be a good thing to share with anybody out there who maybe has a burner smartphone. Maybe you wiped your smartphone clean and you don't really want to have it tracking anything. Or maybe you're just at home and you want to be able to do those Google searches that I'm talking about without worrying about it, again, affecting your algorithm. Because I understand that curiosity gets the best of us to kind of understand what is going on in spaces that are not safe. And if you're going to do that, I suggest using a browser like DuckDuckGo that lets you essentially nuke what it was that you were doing online and kind of scrub it from the record. So one of the reasons I like DuckDuckGo is because now I'm not showing off the app because, again, personal information, similar to why Ron didn't show off his app. But I can kind of quickly describe it to you and say that when you go into the app, there is a button that you can press that will immediately clear all tabs and all data, and that will scrub your history, that will scrub your cookies. So if you are using, let's say, a web app version of Twitter, and you're using Twitter to, social media, you're using it to call out and organize. Well, when you exit DuckDuckGo, you will immediately exit Twitter. That includes if you had logged in. It doesn't matter if you used Tufa to log in or whatever it is that you did. You just hit that little button and it will scrub everything. Alternatively, you could leave things open in it and leave tabs open until you're ready to scrub everything. And so I like having the ability to basically you have that one-click button that does it for you. And now, this is not a replacement for Chrome. So when you go into the settings, you're not going to have a lot of settings that you would compared to like a full mobile browser. But you do have the ability to whitelist sites that maybe don't get scrubbed from the record if you want that option. And you do have the ability to set the browser as your default if you just want this to come up instead of Google Chrome. So DuckDuckGo is always a good idea to have on your phone anyway, just because of all the instant scrubbing that it does. But it's also, I would suggest you having it on your phone if you are planning, again, to go out to protest. Or maybe, again, you just want to do research into some things without having it affect your Google algorithm.
Excellent pick. I feel like DuckDuckGo has been represented on the show in other ways. I'm so surprised that it's never been in the arena. So it was ripe for the picking, and a great moment.
Well, it's on the Brave browser, which I did bring to the arena. It is the incognito mode on the Brave browser. So when you launch into that mode, it's DuckDuckGo. But this is just it on its own, and I think it's essential.
I feel like Gina was the first person to tell me about DuckDuckGo on the show. I don't remember if she brought the app or not, but that was years ago. So even then, it's outdated. But yeah, no, I mean it's a great option. So
can I make a really old school reference? Like it's super in the weeds, but I'm wondering if you guys know what I'm talking about. Sure. The DuckDuckGo icon reminds me of that one show that was on the USA Network, like way back in like the early 90s. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
On the USA Network.
Yeah, it was like it was an animated show, but it was about this duck.
No,
wait a minute.
ringing a bell.
I'm looking it
random.
up right now. I needed to bring it up.
Did he have a bow tie?
Yes. I just found it. Duckman. It was Duckman.
Duckman. Yeah.
I've seen it.
That wasn't on USA. Was it?
Was on the USA Network, actually, because it aired right after Weird Science, which
it was
I would
on the
sleep watch,
you're right.
Which I would
US,
sleep
I'm sorry,
watch.
my bad. US it ran from March 1994 to September 97.
So just
it does kind
sorry.
of okay. It does kind of,
but anyway, that was in the back of my mind.
Side by side them.
Fun fact: Eric T. Duckman was voiced by Jason Alexander.
There you go.
A widowed, lewd, self-hating, egocentric, anthropomorphic
Trust
duck
me,
who lives with
you
his
could tell.
family in LA.
You could tell it was Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
Don't know that I watched that show, but I do remember it. I do recognize it. So, all right. Roundup app gives in lieu or DuckDuckGo. Those are your choices this week. Go to twit.to/AAA poll 475 and place your vote for your favorite app. twit.to/AAA poll 475. And we'll check in on it next week. Looks like, did I see that Roundup app got Burke's vote? There we go.
Oh,
there
thank
we
you,
go.
Burke.
Boom. There it is.
I'm a huge
right,
DuckDuckGo fan. I never get a chance to vote for something like Roundup. So
Oh, Burke.
Cool.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Burke. And thank you, Chad. It's so awesome getting you on the show and being able to just throw some congratulations your way and just see you again. You're always such a smiling, happy, positive person, and I enjoy your
And
presence.
Chad, I love your background. I love like the vaporwave theme that you have going on. I love the call out to synthwave with the sunset like background.
Yeah.
Listen, Flo, you don't get to 1 million subscribers without a good background and good lighting setup. So like he's a pro. We're amongst greatness here. So.
And so wait, Chad, is this a green screen that we're looking at, or is this your real background?
No, that's the real
That's
background.
real.
And I can change it. So I'll like change the lights and like
It's
we
practical
can do-
effects.
Yeah, we could do. Ooh, the cops are coming. Here they come.
Oh, that's a good one to do tonight.
show them
Yeah.
the green screen.
Probably
Show them the
not.
green screen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the green screen's up here.
Oh.
There it goes.
Oh, look at that.
And then I got a different shot for that, so I could switch.
This is
I
sick.
got-
I'm just
oh,
I'm
it's-
so inspired, Chad. I really am, and I mean this sincerely.
There you go. So this is the green screen shot. I do the lights differently for the green
Sure,
screen.
you
Actually,
have to.
I
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm just
This
like,
is the this is the
my-
lighting for the green
this is my
screen.
dream.
This should have been the All About Android shot for you there, Chad. We should have been this from Go.
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
mean,
Android
it out
out right now.
Put anything we want back there,
Yeah.
like you do for your show. And I'm sure every time you connect with someone from that studio, you have to go through the same
Look,
dance.
oh my
It's like,
gosh, look at
wow,
the angle.
that's
I
really
love this.
amazing.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, you're right. I switched it back. It takes there's a laggy moment where it switches between. Yeah, so that's what my cats come in here and wreak havoc. So I have this little baby gate here to stop them from coming into this room when I don't want them in
Surprised
here.
it stops them because cats. Anyway.
And there's a curtain on it as well. So there's like not a curtain, but I guess a curtain. Yeah, I have like here I can go over and show.
I love to say I'm sorry everyone who is listening in. They're like, what are you doing, Flo? But for the video feed, like I love to look behind the scenes. It's my favorite. It's my favorite part of I mean, it's amazing.
There you go.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Of course.
specifically.
Of course.
That's right. Chad, if people want to find you, of course, your YouTube channel, youtube.com/OMGcraft. You have a couple of YouTube channels, but that's your primary one for what?
That's
for what
the
you're
big
doing.
one.
All right.
Yeah. So that one is the one with over 1 million subs, and I post on there the most. You're watching the little channel video of me going through the 1 mil sub story of kind of how I got started. That was me in high school with the long hair. LOL. Yeah. So anyway, that's the big channel. I still do the GizWiz, which was started on TWiT. So head on over to gizmos.tv to find out more about that. Me and Dickie D have been going strong with that, and you can support that show on Patreon. And that's basically it. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, but youtube.com/OMGcraft. Thanks so much for having me, guys. It was great to be back. It was fantastic.
Chad's the best. Big fan of Chad since day one.
Yeah, thank you.
I remember meeting Chad when you were running around with Brian Brushwood pre-TWiT.
Yeah,
I remember all that. Yeah, yep, I remember it. Yeah. So fun times.
Indeed. Love having you on. We'll definitely have you back again soon. If you want to carve out some time for us, we love having you on. Thank you.
It's another one of those crazy moments,
Flo,
Chad, when I realized that we've known each other for more than 10 years at least.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I know. We're getting so old. Getting old stinks. But also it's really cool that we knew each other.
Yeah. No, it's great because you can go to bed at like 9:30 and it's totally fine.
Yes. I think that's been my favorite thing about quarantine is I've totally got my sleep schedule on track. Like totally.
Nice. Flo, what do you want to talk about right now?
What I want to talk about is, and Burke, I apologize, I dropped in this link a little late, but I put together a quick little resource just based on some of the stories going out and based on like what I know about how to protect your smartphone data if you're planning on protesting. Protect your data, make sure that you're not doing anything that could possibly incriminate you. And that is where I dropped that little tip about downloading DuckDuckGo. If you're interested and you want, or maybe you just want to share that around. So part of the reason I put this resource together is I noticed that this is something that's not really talked about. If you want to share that, you can go to tiny.cc/BLM capitalized phone. So tiny.cc/BLM phone, and then BLM is capitalized. You have to type it in that way because of the way the link shortener works. I'm hosting this on Notion. So shout out to Notion for allowing this ability. And if you have any suggestions you want to add to it, let me know. I got information from the Android community, which I really appreciate everyone kind of showing up for that when I sent a call out for that. So thanks everyone, and I hope everybody is staying safe, and anybody who needs it, I hope that you have a space where you can go, that you feel safe, that you can talk about how you're feeling and how you're dealing with everything that's going on right now.
Absolutely. So incredibly essential. Thank you, Flo. Good resource. Ron, what do you want to talk about to round things
For those wondering at home, we don't compare notes on what we're going to talk about here at the end of the show. Had we done that, I would have opted to go before Flo, because now me talking about silly entertainment podcasts just seem shallow and stupid. But listen, if you want a distraction from the world and you're looking for something else to listen to, head over to ifanboy.com. Last week, I had the privilege and the honor to join my iFanboy compatriots, where we did the latest Mediasplode discussion, where we talked about everything that we've been watching during this time of staying at home. And I specifically talked a bit about Devs, which is on the FX network, which is, if you're not watching, is a show that is near and dear to all of our techie kind of hearts. It's by Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina, which is another tech industry kind of adjacent movie. Takes place in the Bay Area, about a company, and stuff happens. AI, quantum computing company, and really fascinating stuff. So yeah, go to ifanboy.com. You can listen to me talk about that, as well as Picard and HBO Max and other fun stuff. So take an hour and get distracted. So there it is.
There you go. Thank you, Ron. Also, a big thank you to Burke in the studio for running things behind the scenes, and you even heard from Burke a few times on this show. Thank you, Burke, for chiming in. Also, big thanks to Victor, who is even more behind the scenes because he's not at the studio, but he is doing the post-production on the show and wrapping things up and editing and all that stuff. So thank you, Victor, for your help there. As for me, I'm just here on TWiT doing my TWiT thing. Hands on Android is another Android show that I do. Last week's episode was about advanced assistant features, so you can check that out. But I'm really feel very, very good about the episode that I have coming out this week. It is all about locking down your smartphone with an idea, with the idea that if you are planning on going out and participating in a protest, making your voice heard, there are a number of ways that you can protect yourself and your data on your smartphone before you leave the house. Things that you should think about. So that's what the episode's going to be this Thursday, twit.tv/HOA. And I hope that's helpful to everyone because, this moment is big. And I want to do everything that I can to support it and to be an ally and a support for that. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and for tuning in each and every week. We love you guys. We couldn't do this show without you. The podcast publishes every Tuesday evening. If you go to twit.tv/AAA, that's the show page where you can go to subscribe to the show and make sure you don't miss any episodes in the future. We hope that you'll do that. And we will see you all next week on another episode of All About Android. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Check out other shows here on TWiT TV, including my show, Hands On Photography. On this show, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of your camera, as well as be a better post processor. So head on over to twit.tv/hop and subscribe now.